Hey, salutations from the music bin where we keep our pre-COVID video performances hermetically sealed in the body of an old refurbished TAC tape deck. It's an A2300 SR with automatic reverse. Glad you could join us today. I thought you tech heads would appreciate that. This is episode 9. We're talking to Jay Martini, music director of our show Irish Hearbeat, and the singer of all things Van Morrison, Derrick Procell. But first, how about a recording from our last show before COVID shut us down, February 25th, 2020, at the Arcada Theater. We are at the music bin. We have Irish Hearbeat music director and pianist, Mr. Jay Martini, and the guy that sings that Van Morrison stuff, old Derrick Procell. We had Derrick on once before. Well, we had Jay on once before too, but I thought it was pretty funny, Derrick. I saw you list later on, like a day or two later, and after the show was revealed, and you were talking about something about two old sods getting together. We went for like 35 minutes or something on that one.
Oh,
hopefully we'll keep this to within a decent time today.
I'll let you moderate that.
Thank you. Yeah, that'll be up to me. So how's the collaborating going? Jay, are you, man, your piano playing is just out of this world lately. Well, I guess the pandemic has been good to you.
Well, in that respect, it has. From almost every other aspect, it hasn't been good, but it has given me time to kind of work on my craft and work on my singing, working on my playing, and really, doing a deep dive into it. And from that standpoint, and I'm looking at all different types of music and finger exercises. Plus, I've been teaching this whole time too, whether it's Zoom or in person. And so working with the kids and working with the adults too, that has kept my fingers kind of going and kept my brain sharp. So from
how
that,
is it working? How is it working with this character? It's pretty special, isn't it?
It is. It is. You know, yeah. I was just thinking about it the other day. Derrick and I played our first gig for Soundtracks of a Generation, even before it was called Soundtracks of a Generation, on the same day. And that was going on 6 years ago when we did the Joe Cocker show at the Lincolnshire deal.
Yes.
And that was his first gig with you and mine as well, even before I went into Doug James in the Pocket.
Yeah, yeah. The Mad Dogs and Englishmen show. I think Derrick had a good time doing that.
It was a scary venture, man. You know, I'd never exposed myself, so to speak, to that much Joe Cocker at one time, man. Like I told you when you asked me if I could, the first time you asked me if I could do a whole night of Joe Cocker, I said, yeah, I think so. If we got some paramedics standing by.
Let me clarify. Hey, in all truthfulness, Jay, when I said to him, "You think you could do some Joe Cocker?" Oh yeah, I can do Joe Cocker. Yeah.
Well,
and he can. You know, he backed it up. But it's like, oh my God, he did come back to me later and say, "Oh my God, this guy."
It's a throat ripper. It's a throat ripper.
Yeah, and when I came on, I had about 3 weeks notice because Ken Johnson couldn't play the show.
Right.
So he, you know, I've worked with Ken off and on for about 20 years, you know, not necessarily in the same band, but I would sub for him. He would sub for me.
Yeah.
And actually, when I got back into the music business in the year 2000, he was playing with a band called Third Degree. And I went to see them, and they brought me up on stage for one song. It was Mustang Sally, and I hadn't played live in 15 years. And it was an eye opener. And from there, I started to play. I got into a band, started my own bands, and here we are. Yeah. But when Ken gave me, he said, "You can do the show, man. You can do it." And I said, "Well, I got to learn all this material." And he gave me his book, and his notes were stellar. And I just woodshedded it for 3 weeks, and I came on and played the show. And what was interesting that night was, Doug, you met my wife, and you guys figured out that you had some Iowa roots together.
Yeah,
which yes.
Her family, a lot of my family grew up in the same town that she was from, and your wife's Debbie's family had the local apothecary.
Apothecary pharmacy
store.
Correct.
Yeah, pharmacy. Yeah. And as it turns out, my cousins knew Debbie's older siblings, and everybody knew the rights anyway. But well, you know, we were talking about the whole Mad Dog show, and then the Deacon getting you involved, and I'd asked Derrick to sing Joe Cocker, and then from that Mad Dog experience, we built the next show was the Soul Commitments, and you were involved with that, and I couldn't get Derrick involved in it until we transformed the Soul Commitments into having some Van Morrison music as well. And then the Van Morrison thing turned into Irish Hearbeat, because that has legs on its own. And I was going to ask Derrick if how much Van Morrison experience did you have prior to that, singing Van Morrison?
I probably actually had more experience doing Van Morrison than Joe, actually. Yeah. Because Van has always been long been a staple of the wedding band circuit, the private event band kind of stuff, and I've been involved with that for quite a number of years. I've been leading a band in the Chicago area called Chicago Groove Collective for about the last 10 years or so. So on any given night, I'm doing you know, at least a handful of Van Morrison songs. You know, the pretty well-known stuff, Crazy Love, Have I Told You Lately, Domino,
Into
course,
the Mystic.
I've been singing Brown Eyed Girl since it first came out, man. I swear, at one time I said, I'm so sick of singing this song, but you know what?
It's like one of the
You gotta
top.
love it, man, because people just love it and they'll sing along, and you know.
It is one of the top wedding song requests
Absolutely.
every year in, year out. It's no doubt.
So, you know, so given that, and you know, and I've been a huge fan of Van Morrison for years anyway. So when the notion of doing a whole show, a whole night of Van Morrison stuff was kind of put out there to me. Well, initially you asked me to fill in for Gene Wigand, who was the original Van Morrison with the little step out section in the Soul Commitments when he couldn't make a couple of the dates. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. That'd be fun. And then it just kept growing from there. And the opportunity to really kind of get more, you know, way deeper into some of the deeper material of Van's, especially some of his early stuff, like, you know, from the British Invasion era, which once again, I did those songs, you know, I did Gloria and Here Comes the Night and all of that stuff, Mystic Eyes. I did all that stuff way back when it was actually first out on the charts, man.
Yeah. And Derrick and I had a good time putting the retrospective together. We put our heads together over a couple of meals, and we looked
always over meals with Jay Martini, ladies and gentlemen. Everything.
There might have been a glass of wine involved too, right?
I mean, lots of wine. You know what you should do is just do a cruise, Jay. I mean, you are a food and travel critic, so it's like, you know, I think that would be a good idea for our next project.
You know, also sitting down with Derrick and talking to him, we found out, you know, he goes back a long way, a little bit longer than I do, and he used to work in advertising for Dick Marks, and he worked with Dick Marks at the same time that the drummer in my first band, Dave Wolf, used to work with Marks at the same time. And Dick Marks is the Here Comes the Hawks, the Mighty Blackhawks guy. But that was before you got there, Derrick, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That goes way back. Wow. Of course, Dick Marks' son, Richard Marks, right?
Yeah.
You know, but the company he founded, Comtrack, I did a lot of work with Comtrack.
Right. Yeah, you were doing work for Comtrack. We were downtown. I was doing voiceover work, and then you started going into the voiceover business after you'd been down here doing singing.
Well, I was one of the lucky ones, you know. I kind of saw the writing on the wall that the, you know, jingles in general and jingle singing was just sort of falling away, and I had sort of inadvertently stumbled into doing some voiceover work, and I thought, okay, let's put a little more energy into that area, and you know, like the balance shifted, and I'm glad it did.
Yeah, we started talking about some of the Van stuff, which of course we're here for Irish Heartbeat, and I know it's you know, St. Patrick's Day is right around the corner, and we always seem to get a lot of Van Morrison. Yeah, a lot of the Irish Heartbeat requests for that show right around that time. Interesting. Jay, I know that you love that live album for San Francisco. We've talked about this, and I think we've done a couple of songs from that album, or at least one song from that album with that arrangement. But what were some of the Van songs that you like listening to, Jay, that aside from that live album?
Aside from that live album, I just like everything really from the Moondance album. And, you know, you just have to get into it, and you have to get into the inner workings of the instrumentals in there too, and how Van, you know, as cantankerous as he was, he used his voice as an instrument, as a jazz instrument, more from, it's very rhythmic to him. And he was using it like a horn almost.
And he's a horn player.
And that's what I dug about that more than anything else. It was like really nothing else.
Yeah.
That I'd heard.
In I don't know. I looked at some old interviews and stuff a few years ago, and I remember him saying that his father had a big record collection, and it was all mostly jazz. But he got into Ray Charles and Sam Cooke and Bobby Bland and Solomon Burke early on, and that's where that whole strong R&B. So he has a strong jazz sense about him, a strong R&B sense about him. But he's one of my favorite writers. Him, John Hyatt, Warren Zevon. I mean, of the guys, you know, from our era, those are the guys that I think write. Their writing is just so good, so good. Into the Mystic.
His writing, you know, comes from such a deep place, man. I mean, you know, because he had several albums out that were, you know, one could almost put them in the spiritual bin, you know.
Oh, yeah.
He's a very spiritual cat, despite his cantankerousness and reputation for, you know, behavior.
You know, that all started with Astral, that Astral Weeks album.
Yeah.
That was, you know, because it was, you know, you were listening to it, and it does have that jazz. It has that Celtic kind of spiritual kind
mysticism. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, mysticism to it. And then there's obviously the Blue-Eyed Soul thing happening too. But he PO'd. He aggravated some players making that album. They did that in 9 or 10 hours. I remember hearing once. 9 or 10 hours they made that album. That's not very much time.
Nope. So I want to tell you my the only time that I've seen Van was way back when I went to see him. I drove down from Milwaukee. I was living in Milwaukee, and I came to see him at the Kinetic Playground. You know, me and my buddies, and we would get how you'd say we would chemically balance ourselves on the way down here.
You got messed up.
And so there we are sitting on the floor like we did back then, you know, and Van comes out and he's got his little 3-piece band, and they're like, you know, 2-3 songs into the set, and all of a sudden he starts kind of mumbling some stuff to the guys in the band, and it's very clear that there's something not quite right going on. And next thing you know, he's literally screaming at him, like he's cursing at him and stuff, you know, in his thick Irish thing. And we're all just sitting there going, what is happening here? And next thing you know, he puts down his acoustic guitar and gets up and walks off stage. That was it. Show's over.
Yeah.
Like,
that was not the first time he did that.
Not the first time.
And it wasn't the last time either.
But it gave me a good taste of what, the spirit of Van. Now, I'll never do that. Just so you know, that's never going to happen on an Irish
artists are like that sometimes. What's some of your favorite songs, though, that you enjoy playing? Jay, what's something that you really dig playing?
I've always liked Domino, just from a standpoint that it was a hit when I love music so much. AM radios just about turning to FM radio in that 70, 71 period. And I didn't really get to play it the right way until I got with this band. And when we played it at the WGN studios.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
I felt the whole thing with the staccato horns, and my piano just fit right in. In fact, wait a second, not piano. I was playing organ on that, and Ken playing piano, but I could do the organ stabs, you know, like I say, like very percussive, and it fit right in. And of course, we had crack horn players that were doing the right thing and playing their charts the right way. And a
backup drummer.
What?
Right.
And a backup drummer. Rob came and sit in for Dave Harris.
That's
He's
right.
Never played with us before.
And that was fantastic. So that's what I really liked. But also you know, I really liked when we started doing the really old stuff as well, the them period, because that brought back the 60s time to me, you know, with more Paul Revere and the Raiders and Dave Clark 5 and all of that, that sensibility. And I love playing that stuff as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the audience really kind of seemed to latch onto that when, you know, literally probably the last show that we did. In fact, the one that showed up today and from a year ago on Facebook.
A year ago today was our last show.
That was such a great show at the Arcada Theater, and the audience just lapped that up, man. That little medley we did of them things, sort of right in the middle of the show. It was such a nice break, and for some people, I think it was a good history lesson, you know, like I don't think that they realized that Van Morrison even wrote Gloria, especially here in Chicago area.
Well, they all thought it was Shadows at Night.
Shadows at Night song. Right?
Right.
For the benefit of those who are watching this at a later date, that our last show before COVID for Irish Heartbeat would have been February 25th, 2020. So anyway, yeah, going back.
Great show. One of my favorite pieces that we get to do, sort of like I said, a little deeper, like maybe not as well known. Believe it or not, a song "Blue Money."
Oh yeah,
I think is, first of all, it's hilarious because, you know, he's singing to I'm assuming his girlfriend, who is in the adult entertainment industry. We gonna go out and spend all of your blue money.
Yeah.
But it's like a classic. It's like Domino. It's a classic example of blue-eyed soul, man. And
I think that was the St. Dominic's preview album. Yeah.
It's just kind of short and sweet, you know, and to the point.
You know, the album of his that I loved early on, and Moondance is without a doubt, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best albums in the 70s. It ranks really high. It's a top 10 album easily for the entire decade. But his Tupelo Honey album, Wild Night is on that. You got Old Woodstock on that, and Tupelo Honey, the title track. Oh man, what a great ballad. Oh man, so good.
I love doing that song with this show.
Yeah.
There's so many great songs. You know, and I was going to say this before because we were talking about the Joe Cocker show, and there's something about both of these shows that I love being, you know, the front guy vocalist for. They both allow for some, as we love to jokingly call it, loosely tight. There's a loosely tight element to it. You know, it's not like a Steely Dan show where everything is really, you know, precise and you have to do them just like the record. It's like, I mean, we do things enough like the record in terms of, you know, the way the songs are arranged and put together, but there's also room for some fun improv.
Can we get a trademark on loosely tight?
Loosely tight, baby.
That's possible. I know. But that's right. You're right.
Both shows, you know, I mean, there were elements, man. We had some fun. I remember we went in from, what was it? We went into Bo Diddley and I can't even remember the song anymore. It's been too goddamn long.
I know, it's been a whole year.
Been a whole year.
Go into
a year that feels like 5 in some ways.
What were you saying, Jay? It's what?
I was saying that we went into a Bo Diddley. Did we go into Not Fade Away?
Yeah, Not Fade Away, but
that's it. From Bo Diddley. Yeah.
And
Norman Petty and Buddy Holly. Oh my God.
When we were put together, we just said, all right, we'll go into it. We'll watch Derrick and he'll signal when we're going to come out of it. So it was either going to be 8, 12, 16, 24 bars, whatever. But, you know, as I tell all my players, keep your eyes up and watch.
Watch the singer.
Yeah. And it came out great. And I think the audiences see that we're having fun and there's interplay between the musicians and they gravitate to that as well.
Yeah, and that's the best part, man. you know, it's a bunch of great players on the stage, man, and everybody knows what to do. You know, there's no, you know, everybody's paying attention, man, and they're all great players. You know, they know what to do. So, and I feel confident when I'm doing that kind of thing, and just, you know, pull out the harp and jam a little bit. Oh, Josephine, that's the song.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was it.
That was it.
I knew it would come to you. The Prevagen kicked in.
Half a mile from the county fair, and the rain came pouring down. Me and Billy were standing there with a silver half a crown. Hands are full of a fishing rod and a tackle on our backs. We just stood there getting wet with our backs against the fence. Oh, the water, oh, the water, oh, the water. I hope it don't rain all day. And it stung me to my soul. Stung me just like jelly roll. And it stung me. And it stung me to my soul. Stung me just like going home. And it stung me. The rain let up, and the sun came up. We were getting dry. Almost let a pickup truck nearly pass us by. So we jumped right in and the driver grinned, and he dropped us up the road. We looked at the swim and we jumped right in, not to mention fishing poles. Oh, the water, oh, the water, oh, the water, let it run all over me. And it stung me to my soul. Stung me just like jelly roll. And it stung me. And it stung me to my soul. Stung me just like going home. And it stung me. On the way back home, we sang a song, but our throats were getting dry. Then we saw the man from across the road with the sunshine in his eyes. Well, he lived all alone in his own little home with a great big gallon jar. There were bottles too, one for me and you, and they said, hey, there you are. Oh, the water. Oh, the water, oh, the water, getting myself from the mountain stream. And it stung me to my soul. Stung me just like jelly roll. And it stung me. And it stung me to my soul. Stung me just like going home. Yeah, and it stung me. And it stung me to my soul. Stung me just like jelly roll. And it stung me. Yes, it stung me to my soul. Stung
Yeah, stone me just like Jelly Roll. Mercy, mercy, mercy. Thank you, Jay. You too, Derrick. Hey, next week it's an entire decade of musical goodness. 70s FM radio rock. Great show. And our guests will be Phil Smith and Lynette Foss. That's Lynette Foss. So until we can meet at the clubs and the festivals and the venues and the performing arts centers, let's just meet right here at the old Music Bin. Tell your mama and your pop, friends and family, make a website stop at www.soundtracksofageneration.com. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and fear not, because music heals. All right, Captain Kirk, roll them credits and beam me up. Beep, beep, and boop, and boop, ba. Ba do, ba do, ba, 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 ba. Zwabba, zwabba.